Hello again, and welcome. Michael Pizzolla here, and I'd like to welcome you to this edition of the ValueCapping Rant. For those of you who don't know me, very quickly, I am the author of Handicapping Magic, co-author of Pace Makes the Race, creator of the original online racing form, and publisher now of Post Time Daily, a fantastic past performance for the thoroughbred races. I'd like to present to you today a famous pianist's value capping lesson. That's right, a lesson on value capping from a wonderful pianist. His name was Artur Schnabel. And Artur Schnabel was a true master and a true thinker. He taught about the art of playing classical pieces. He always wanted the difficult pieces to play because he felt that the easy ones were just too easy, and he wanted to be challenged. Here's a picture of Artur Schnabel a little later in his life, looking like a very happy horse player, to my mind. In any event, he was quoted in the Chicago Daily News as saying this: "The notes I handle no better than many pianists, but the pauses between the notes, that's where the art resides." Now, what does this have to do with value capping? All right, let's look at that quote again. "The notes I handle no better than many pianists, but the pauses between the notes, that's where the art resides." Let's edit it a bit. And let's make it say this: "The bets I handle no better than many players, but the passes between the bets, that is where the art resides." Get it? There's much more to this game than just betting willy-nilly. It is knowing when to stay out. And here's an old but true horse player saying that it's not the bad beats that beat you, it's the bad bets. Now, the $64 question is, how do we eliminate marginal bets? In fact, a value capper recently asked on the Wizards forum, which is for users of Blackmagic Ultimate Handicapper software, he said this: "The mental game, the waiting, the passing, why can't this be taught?" That's a great question. And my response is that it can be pointed to. It can't be taught like here's a step-by-step formula, but it can be pointed to. The end result can be pointed to. But after that pointing, the person must experience this for himself or herself. So what I'm doing now is pointing, okay? But ultimately, knowing this will be born from your personal experience before the race is run. Why? Because after the race is run, all uncertainty is gone. We know what happened, and we go, "Oh, sure, I should have seen this, and it's obvious now." Of course, it's always obvious after the race. Now, there is an element of risk in every bet, of course, and there's no certainty before the race. Well, we can feel certain that it's a good investment. Now, this is true. This element of uncertainty, this element of risk, is especially true when we're betting price horses. Very few 20-to-1 shots look like a mortal lock. But that element of risk is very different than doubt. Okay? So that doubt, if there's a feeling of uncertainty, gee, should I make this bet? I don't know, I'm not sure. Or of confusion. Boy, the track profile is late and the race comes up and projects as early, and this horse is kind of that kind of mental chatter. Or if there's just a general sense of, yeah, I know this horse is at the top of my line, but this just doesn't seem right to me. Those kinds of indicators, if you have one of them, my advice is to stay out of the race. This is one of the spaces between the notes, the passes between the bets. Okay. Now, the reason that some players have a difficulty with this is what I call FOMO. FOMO stands for the fear of missing out. I know this very well. It's perhaps greater than the fear of losing a bet. It's the fear that a horse that you were considering betting, yeah, this horse is at the top of the line, but I'm not quite sure, okay, one of those, but you didn't feel secure in the assumption of the risk of that bet, and guess what? It comes romping home and it will win at a big price. That's the fear. Well, spoiler alert. If you play this game long enough, this will happen. It's inevitable. And when it does happen, your job is to tell yourself 3 things. Not to just bet them all. That's not one of the things, okay? The first thing, hey, I just learned something. And 2, there are plenty of opportunities out there every day. And 3, remember this, no one in the history of horse racing, no one has ever lost money passing a race. You have to tell yourself that. Sure, it stings. Oh my God, I looked at it. Look, he paid $23.80. You know, and ask me how I know. Your job is to stay patient, stay alert, and you will teach yourself. You will teach yourself this value capping lesson from Artur Schnabel, that it's not the bets, it's the pauses between the bets. It's not the notes he plays, it's how he handles the silence between the notes. It's extremely crucial. One of the mistakes that are made when someone gets a shiny new piece of software is they go off and they bet like a sailor on leave and betting everything that moves. Well, that's not the way. I mean, it's possible to get too restrictive and I will only bet if this and that. No. There's a middle ground that you can teach yourself. This looks like a good risk. I think the public is way under betting this horse. They're over betting some other horses. Yes. The certainty is not, I'm sure this horse is going to win, because that you can never be sure of. That will cause frustration and anxiety. Don't do that, but you can be sure that, I think this horse is being underbet. I think they're overbetting this horse. This is a good number. This is a good value investment, and you feel certain about that before the race. You make that. If there's uncertainty, you don't. The bets I handle no better than many players, but the passes between the bets, that's where the art resides. So become a value capping artist, value cappers, and learn to recognize this for yourself when the bet seems so clear and so obvious that it's as if the bet is begging to be made. It's as if the bet is making you. Well, that's it for this value capping rant. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will take to heart the value capping lesson from Artur Schnabel, the famous pianist. Until next time, this is Michael Pizzolla saying, be well, enjoy this great game of ours, and above all, let the bet make you. I'll see you soon.